Okay, so now this is recording. If either of you guys do not want to be recorded, feel free to check in with me afterwards. And I will not post this online. I don't want to, put you on the spot right now. So I'm going to.
Aaron, you could use our site as an example if you wished.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm actually going to show you guys some stuff on the Quaker Cloud site. So, and that way I can show a little bit about like what I need from like your Google stuff if you want to embed it and stuff like that. But then we can also jump over to Hanover and we can talk about both of those. So, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome.
I can see your screen.
Okay. So, well, since we talked last, we have fixed the cropping tool issue. And there's also a little bit of information on how to use the cropping tool. And then where did I put the Google thing? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I mean, this is for Google Calendar, but it's pretty similar for Google Docs. Really, you just send me the embed code. I think actually Google Calendar is a little more complicated. Google Docs, I think you just click on like when you share and you can like get an embed code. But you send me the code, I drop it on your site. It works pretty well. And then let me just make sure that my chat window open. Okay, so well, I guess I can show you on the Hanover site also about this. So let's take a look. Ed asked a question about how we export the cloud membership list. So since that's a little more specific, I'll go over that.
Yes, I would be very interested.
Mm-hmm. And I'll try and save the general stuff for a little bit later. So I'm on your site. I'm going to scroll down.
Building.
Yeah, I guess I can scroll slower. Okay, so I am going to go to member directory. And then down here on the bottom left, if you click CSV, that's how you can get your Excel document. And then you get a nice...
Okay, so I have to use the regular directory. I have to use the regular directory rather than just the membership listing. Now, people can choose to be in the directory or not, whereas they cannot choose whether to be in the membership list if they're members.
Right, but this is...
So that was why I wanted to capture that. Oh, okay, so you just exported the directory.
Yep, and this list would only be available to admins. So even though they wouldn't be able to opt in or out of this list, they would still, this is based on just everyone who's a membership, everyone who has membership on your site.
But it'll only show the
this one
personal
is
data
that
that
way?
They... Okay, wait.
Those to put in, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it will only show the... I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It will only show the data that they've entered, because some of this data is optional. Like some people may only have their email address and their name, right?
Yep. Yes.
And will non-admins not see the CSV
Correct.
button?
Non-admins will not see the CSV button.
Oh.
Where was the button? I missed it.
It was in the bottom left. So if you scroll down to the first page at the very bottom of your directory, that's where it lives.
Okay. Member directory. Okay.
So I can also walk you through how to remove people just using manage members. Have you had a chance to check this part out? You go to manage people.
I've done quite a little bit of, yeah, I've done quite a little bit of managing people, that is adding additional roles.
Oh, nice. Okay. Then it's the same thing. You just check their name, remove from group, which I won't do because
Uh-huh.
you might not like that.
Right.
hmm So yeah, that gives you a little bit more flexibility with that, I guess. Um, and then if you do have like a large chunk of people that you do want removed, you can always send it back to me and I can help with that. I do still have to do it manually, but that is something I can do.
Well, one of the reasons that it would be nice to have the ability to print or produce the CSV from the checked list rather than the whole list, um, perhaps using the, or does that work with the CSV? Does the CSV look to see who's checked and only turn those people out?
No. What
Or
about
export? See, what I would like to do, for example, is be able to export everybody who's a contributor so that we
ah?
have a produced list. And so it's convenient to be able to do all the members, but the other roles, particularly as you add more roles. I assume you're going to be adding more roles this summer, next fall, in the not too distant future.
I
Well,
think
roles, for example, that would be like clerks or um, um, roles in committees.
um so with these,
Perhaps you,
are you thinking of something with different permission sets? Or are you thinking of something that just kind of
yeah,
indicates?
well, basically, it seems to me that officers have a different kind of permissions list. And furthermore, um, each year, people are going to be stepping into specific roles like this, if you see what I'm driving at.
Mm-hmm.
So that I would like something that was clerk, and that clerk would have the ability to remove things from the posting, which the clerk from the previous year could remove without having to go through an administrator and do all that sort of stuff. You see what I'm driving
Ah.
at? I assume that one clerk could remove or could amend, let's say, material produced by the clerk who was previous to him or her.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that really has produced a mess here, in the sense that if somebody is a contributor, it's not clear that one contributor can edit another contributor's work other than extracting it all someplace else, modifying it, and then putting it back as their own work and getting an administrator to delete the work produced by the previous person.
I
Mm-hmm.
think I see what you mean. I can totally add that to our ideas queue. I think that sounds I understand why that's necessary. Um yeah, I
So
don't
there's sort of two there's sort of the two different reasons for having that. One is the year-to-year continuance of the clerk position,
Mhm.
whether it be recording clerk or trustee or whatever, um, and then or clerk of trustees and secretary of trustees and so forth. So in order to continue to utilize those documents as if you owned them yourself. Even though
you could masquerade.
Well, it's not exactly a masquerade. What it is it's a function of the meeting. And so there are different persons who are entitled to do things as that entity, and that changes from year to year or every 3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And so what you want to be able to do is to minimize the work of copying things and changing things. Now, in Unix, that's fairly straightforward. You can have multiple owners of something. And it's not clear to me that you can have multiple owners except administrators in the permission structure that we have currently. Perhaps I'm misinterpreting the way it works.
Not at this point, no. It's like I think it like kind of like the lateral permission set is not something right now that we have, but I can look into what it would take for that to be. I know that we're trying to do a little bit of a relaunch and really update some of our services. So I don't know exactly if we can do that, but it's something I can look into.
Yeah, well, I really think that that's important in terms of minimizing the reshuffling of things when, in our case, June 1st comes around and all of a sudden you have different clerks and you have different people who are going to be in charge of committees, in charge of, well, basically the whole meeting in terms of authority. And you already have the recording clerk, which was the thing that gave me the idea that you might want to do that. Because when you have something posted as a clerk, oh, that's the other thing. Oftentimes, I would like to be able to choose to use a lesser role than my full role. So I need a way to sign on with the role that I wish to assume. Do you see what I'm driving at? In some cases, I might choose to log on as a contributor. In some cases, I might choose to log on as an administrator or choose to be an administrator. I can already show you one person who I've given the roles of contributor and administrator. And the reason I had to give her the role of administrator was because of the fact that I had already posted some stuff and I wanted her to be able to easily edit it rather than have to go back to scratch. So she has the dual role of contributor if she's adding something new, and also administrator if she's changing something that I put up as an administrator. Because I couldn't put it up as a contributor. Well, it's not clear that if she were a contributor, she could change my contributor posting anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't think she would be able to.
But this is a real permissions problem. And I don't know whether you need to have some function which says, okay, take this page and mark it that I have edited it and put it up as me rather than as the person that I got it from. I mean, that would be another way to deal with it, so that you could have passing on of material, but you maintain a audit log for it. I guess what I'm saying is that the permission structure is very nice, but it does get in the way of doing things quickly and magically. It's almost like I've taken over the whole website and now I'm the website editor, and therefore everything that's there I should be able to edit without having to be an administrator.
Okay. Well, I'll take that to my supervisor and I'll see if that's something that we could prioritize. You're the first meeting that's really asked for that. And I think that it's just a user adoption thing that a lot of meetings just aren't using it as much as you guys are. So ideally, what do you see the roles as?
Well, as I said, there are two sort of functions for it. One is to stamp a document as produced by the clerk or the recording secretary, because each thing that is posted is associated with an ID. Now, it's sort of that the clerk is an identifier for a particular committee, for example. And rather than have an additional person identifier, we'd sort of like to have something that is an identifier whose user attributes are different from year to year. Now, how that gets done, that's another really interesting question. But the major reason for doing this sort of thing, on the one hand, is to say, okay, this thing has more authority than something posted by an arbitrary contributor.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is that we want to make life relatively straightforward for those people who have to edit documents that have been there previously, contributed or whatever by somebody else, without having to promote everybody to administrator. I mean, we could do that, I suppose, but then a lot of the other stuff just sort of becomes useless.
Ed, I have a question. In your
Sure.
In your proposal, would you also suggest that the prior contributor lose permissions to edit that work because they are no longer serving the role in the meeting, such as clerk? And they shouldn't forever have the ability to.
Well, that is the least privilege idea. Yeah, that is the least privilege idea.
Yeah.
Now, whether you want to implement that or not is another question. But one of the things that I've noticed is that we have a safe, okay? And more people over time learn the combination of the safe because the safe is never changed. So if one really is trying to use the identities to indicate who did the posting and who was responsible for the posting, then unless we want to have a generic ID for a particular kind of position, where whoever it is who holds that position has certain permissions, which is sort of what I'm advocating for,
yeah.
then life is going to get pretty complicated when it comes time to change officers or change positions of people.
Well, it seems like you could have.
But the only way that it can be done.
It seems like
about the only way that it can be done now. I'm not going to answer my phone, so go right ahead.
Maybe there's a huge delay, and I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I'm trying to get in when you pause. It seems like each document could have a indicator that it's owned by either the author or it's owned by the role that the author had when it was created. But it could go either way. I think there could be some documents that a contributor would want to continue to own as a personal matter, and other documents are a corporate matter and should be owned by whoever has the role now and into the future.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I should have muted my microphone during the time that the phone was ringing. I apologize for that. I'll learn, I hope. Yes, I agree. I think that that's one solution. And what I would suggest merely is that here are some of the issues that I run up against, and probably a group of people who have experience with trying to manage all of the online things get together and try and talk about what kinds of permissions structure is really desired. Does that sound reasonable? And I'm going to mute.
Yeah, I think that that sounds totally reasonable. Because yeah, I mean, I have to make sure that this is something that we're able to do. I think it is, um, but I don't want to say for sure. But I really like this idea. It's very similar to like how our database works. So it's people are already using it in other places. I mean, it's I understand the need also, and I can have my supervisor, since this is being recorded, I can have him listen again to this conversation too to kind of see like what we were talking about.
Yeah, I've not had this need yet because I haven't had the problem yet because I'm just getting going. So I think other meetings may also have the same problem. It's not a unique problem that describing. Well, I'll have it when we have the problem.
I agree.
It's about half over for this hour. I wonder if we could move on
Sure,
to the other topic.
let's see what other things we had on here. Um, well, let's see. I was going to show you a little bit how to find information and how to use the discussion feature on the Cloud Admin site. So, because I'm really hoping that we can that everyone can be answering questions. It's not quite working yet, but I'm thinking it'll still catch on. Like yeah.
Well, this is the third venue that we would have, so I think we have to decide which is the center of gravity for this admin group.
Yeah, this is, I mean, this
Because we
was,
had Google Plus, now we have Facebook option, and now we have this discussion group.
we don't have a Facebook option yet. I'm
No,
still,
but it was suggested.
yeah, I was going to bring that up later, but it's only 50 admins. I mean, we have over 200 admins, and only 50 of them are on Google Plus. It's something I set up 3 years ago when I thought Google Plus was going to be something that it didn't turn out to be. So I don't mind moving over to Facebook. I'm trying to still I'm not getting even enough of a sample to make that decision on Google Plus. So I'd really just rather have one or the other. I'm fine with either one. So I think I'll send out a survey just to kind of confirm that people do want to be on Facebook. So
Is this an option instead to only use the admin's Quaker Cloud Sites discussion board?
it is totally an option, but yeah, nobody's really like if anyone answers questions, it's usually me, and or else they just linger because nobody like yeah. So I'm not exactly sure how to. I also have a user adoption problem where I'm not sure how to like get everyone to throw in on the discussions.
Can
But yeah,
I subscribe to this discussion group so that I get notified by email when some activity occurs?
we
I don't think so.
We don't have that capability. What we do have is, wait, are you on this site? Make sure you're a member here.
Yeah, yes, I do believe.
Uh,
Oh,
that's odd. Okay, well, I'll go back and check that later. Here's what you can do. Well, I have to set this up, but one thing that we do have on here is an RSS feed. I went back too far. So you can subscribe to the RSS feed, and I can set that up after the call. And then you can be like receiving all of this information and stuff. And then whenever somebody posts something, it will pop up on there. We have
I
been
can't
trying.
subscribe myself.
Um, you can subscribe. I just have to give you the RSS feed link. But
Oh,
some it's we're trying to get it so that people are notified by email. But I'll have to
uh-huh.
confirm that it's actually working that way.
Why don't you raise that question and answer it within here with that link?
I could do that.
How can I subscribe to?
RSS.
Well, people won't know what RSS may be. How can I subscribe? How can I be notified of
Cloud notifications, how to receive.
discussions here? Can we add can other users to our site have
Yeah,
RSC subscriptions too?
yeah, sure.
Oh,
Uh,
I didn't know that. How was I supposed to know that?
um, not a lot of people ask for it, so it's not even really in the orientation. I can set it up for you. Let me make a ticket.
Right.
Uh,
I'll send you a ticket. You don't have to
oh,
create a
okay.
ticket
Yeah,
for yourself.
Um,
what would be interesting would be to have a video like you have the little video clips about what to do with respect to RSS and what to do with respect to discussion groups. One of the questions that I have is, do you have to be a member in order to answer or post a discussion element? One of the reasons that I ask that question is the place where the most discussion questions are probably going to come from are from the public. So we have a problem in terms of trying to use the website to engage the public and to allow them to ask questions and have official answers, if you see what I'm driving at.
you can
I
only
don't think that works now.
interact even on a public post if you have a Quaker Cloud account. So you wouldn't
Yeah,
be
that's
able
what
to
I
do it
thought.
otherwise. Yeah, we have comments disabled, public
Um,
comments disabled and everything.
so one of the questions then is, do we need something which would be like a guest kind of thing so that the person could um, have the role of um, guest without logging in so that they could participate in discussions that in which that was allowed?
So
I'm not sure
There are
for my
obviously
meeting.
discussions that
I'm not sure for my meeting we'd want that kind of discussion board mixed in with our private discussions.
well,
Maybe
the way that you
maybe
would
a
settle it
separate one.
easily. Okay, that's fine with me. It's just a question of how you do it. Now, we already have the arrangement of, is the thing private or is it public? And it strikes me that's decided on the very first post,
mhm.
Uh-huh.
or could be decided on the very first post. And then you
Uh-huh.
proceed from that. It would take moderation capability, but it would allow us to engage the public without having to have a separate website.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if we had a permission set where a certain like guests couldn't see like certain types of content, including the directory. Um, yeah, that That seems like that's something we can do, but I'm not positive. Not positive, but I think that seems like something that wouldn't be too
Uh,
difficult for us to configure.
yeah.
They would still have to set up an account, though, I think. But the account would just have a
You'd have to
permission
have
to
something with
guest.
Yeah, I think you'd open yourself up to certain abuse if there was no vetting at all. Yes, there'd have to be moderation, but we would not necessarily know who's even contributing
That's true.
without
It would be
requiring
just,
a
let's see, I guess,
login.
yeah.
Hmm. Well, it's an interesting
That's a
idea.
good that's worthy of good discussion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll look into that. We can see if that's something we can do, and yeah.
A registered guest.
Well, that's something to also, yeah. That's something to also consider when the permission structure is being reviewed.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. Hmm. So let me see. Oh, my cool. Thanks, Jeff. um, okay, so the discussion feature, moving over. I'm going to send Jeff his RSS feed. Um, so user adoption issues. I feel like some of that we've already talked about in terms of like permission sets and things like that. But are there other user adoption issues that we haven't touched on yet?
Yes. I'm at the point where I need to confidently initiate an enrollment process, and I'm trying to decide what to say and how to instruct the users. And because we have a community with email addresses already known, I'm trying to decide whether or not to just pound them all in on on that page, because many of these people, probably 80 or 90% of them, already have FGC identities, even though they've never logged into FGC themselves. You've culled from databases these lists of email addresses and identities. Is that correct?
Yeah, and especially meetings in New England, we have very strong records of those.
What about New York yearly meeting?
Yes.
So that's my experience. So I'm curious, what do you recommend, and what happens when I you know, independently on my action add people? What do they get? I can't get any opportunity to give them text, but I believe they receive some email. And what does it say?
I don't know if they still receive an email. We disabled one of them because it was just firing too many times for people. Um, oh, actually, no,
So
we
is there?
definitely, it does not fire an email anymore to people.
So there seems to be no benefit for me to go that route.
I mean, people will be able to log in and with some certainty that they're already part of the site.
But they would not have a password established.
Right. They still
There
have
isn't
to,
many
yeah.
there isn't many steps saved. They might. So it seemed like there was two routes on the home page to join as a new member, and one you said creates a notification email to the admin, and the other path doesn't, even though it appears that both paths from the home page arrive at the same user enrollment form.
Right. That's what it seemed like when we were going through that the only way is that if you do request to be a member, and then that will actually send the email.
And that's the link at the top or the side right?
I think that's the side right. If I'm
And must I not give them a link to that destination page, but they have to actually exercise this path for that to work?
Um, well, I mean, what I would do is there's like another button that would be over here, and then it says like join this meeting, and then
Right.
that's the one that
I
triggers all the stuff.
Right. For simplicity, I wanted to send my community an email saying, "Here, open this link,"
Hmm.
and I didn't see any reason to send them to the home page if I could send them a link directly to the enrollment page. It
Uh,
already the URL will already have our meeting's ID in it.
yeah. Let me see. I think there's. I assume there's one. Yeah. Okay. See, look at. I'm trying to point. That doesn't make sense. Look at the bottom left of my screen. That is
Hmm.
your. So that's like how you would join this one. So if we go to like yours, there is a URL that would appear when you hover over the button. And if you just sent
Yeah.
people that URL, then they would be taken through all the steps.
Uh-huh.
So that might work.
And if so, the following this path is not important, but the destination is,
Hmm.
of course, more important. And if their name and email is already identified in your database, but they've never logged into FGC, um, they still have to identify themselves and the password. Are they told that their email already exists? Is there some hiccup they
Um,
experience?
yes and yes. If for simplicity, I think it would still almost be simpler to put everybody in so that they all have accounts set up and then send them. Is it this? I think it's this. So what you could do is you could set up everyone's account, and you could do it by the add members way that you were talking about. And then you could
Uh-huh.
just send everybody this link, quakercloud.org/user/password. And this is like all they would have to do. You could even take it a step
And,
further and you could fill this out for every person so that they got that email that says Jane Smith, click on this link, and then you'll be able to log in and you'll be taken right to Rochester meeting.
and they'll get invited to fill out more personal information if they wish.
If they wish, if they want to click on their name, they can do that, but they it's up to them. They don't have to.
Yeah. I I'm wondering whether most of these cloud sites have high participation with private pages and user enrollments, or are most pages just serving public pages? So how about Ed? Do you have? I see you had 24 or so members. Is that the extent of your community, or have you had obstacles to getting people to participate?
The principal obstacle at the moment, well, there are a couple of them. One is that I thought that there was an email message being sent to every person who was effectively enrolled as a member, but apparently that's not happening. And as a result of that, I've got some catch-up work to do. And I think I can do that by getting the CSV of the membership, extracting the email addresses, and sending out a batch letter saying something like, um, it's you are enrolled as a member, and now you need to reset your password to be whatever you would like it to be, using this particular email address, and then you
Right.
will be a member of the website. Now, so far, I only got 28 members. Well, I guess it's 29 or 30. 29 or 30 members so far, by figuring who likely had friends' bookstore accounts or who had dealt with the FGC. And there were a lot of people who apparently paid cash or something, and so as a result didn't get their themselves included that way. Now we have, I think, sent in a proposed membership list. Did in
Yes.
fact Beata send that to you?
Wait. I don't know if she sent it, but she has emailed me and she is aware of my email address. But
Okay.
I'll
Well,
have
I
to
gave
check
her your email
yeah.
address and suggested she. Okay, but
So
at any
that
rate, that's going to be a while. And go ahead.
so that's the step I was envisioning. You know, I was going to do them one at a time, and I realized, gee, I could do them if somebody, a super admin, the FGC office could do that for me. That is what you've asked them to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great jump start.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if
The problem is that right now, Aaron has. Go ahead, Aaron.
sorry. I think Jeff, I didn't because you started with a different admin at your meeting, so I don't know if we ever I feel like there were a couple of things I didn't get to tell you, and one is
No, I've never had an orientation.
yeah. So had you had an orientation, I would have shown you that there is a template with the Excel information that I need on the cloud.
And this, if you had it, you still couldn't process it because you're changing developers?
We're changing developers, and we're doing a couple different like updates and stuff right now to resync our website and our database together. So that's just what I'm waiting for, is for a piece of that to get updated, and then I can put everybody up, and I can do it very quickly.
Is this a pause of days or weeks or months?
I'm not sure. We're actually going through a couple changes in my department right now. Executive committee just met, and we are trying to have a more balanced budget moving forward, and we've had to shrink down a little bit. So I don't know, but we have not shrunk down with our developers.
Yeah.
But we have less staff. We're going to have less staff moving forward. I will still.
If and when you can process such a list, does that work for enhancing already existing accounts or just adding new accounts?
I can do either one.
Great.
But yeah, check out this template, and it makes it a little more clear that when we turn the website back on so that it's working like it's supposed to, or when our data, it's just like a link between our database and website, then it's super quick. So.
Great.
Plan on doing, since well, one of the things that I will plan on doing, since apparently no email goes out to people who have been added to the list, is to use that template that you have, how to log on for the first time, and send that URL to every person who is added as a member, who will tell me what their email address is.
Awesome. Let me show you another thing also, which has been kind of co-designed by Charlottesville Friends. Now there's another one to help people get on the cloud. Wait, did I cross-list them? I should probably list these together. Okay, so last year, Charlottesville Friends helped me kind of come up with, and yeah, because it was for Central Korea, all of the questions people run into. We identified about 6. Right. And these are all the different issues. And so, yeah, I recommend also sharing this with them in case the first time doesn't work. But it has the questions people ask you. So. I should keep.
Great.
So we are towards the end, but I did want to tell you guys that if you are going to the gathering, we're doing a pre-gathering event this year for the Quaker Cloud. So it's going to be similar to like kind of what we're doing now, sitting and discussing things, stuff like that. It's also designed to be kind of like a boot camp, excuse the military reference, to sort of like really get your internet presence like in order. So even things like if you don't want to work on your cloud site or you have another site, say you have like a WordPress blog that you also want to work on, we can help you with that. Or if you want to do more like your Facebook and your Twitter and your Snapchat and all that and your YouTube, all of the other social media, um, that's something that we can help you work on and we can just kind of like bang it out in one day. So that's a thing we're doing.
Cool. Great service. I will not be there, however.
Mm. Well, I think it's gonna. I'm really excited about it. This is the first time that we've done a pre-gathering event. We've always done events at gathering, but this is the first time that we've done like an intensive day. So that's pretty cool. So, oh, I did want to show you guys the search function
Nice
really
if you,
quick. I'm sorry, what?
it would be nice if you could televise that gathering.
Yeah, I don't. I have to see. I have no idea how any of that works with like fees and everything else, but I think that would be cool. I don't really know if that's something that we're able to do or not. So I don't know. But if there, I'll see.
Even if,
Mhm. But
even if you had to do it, uh, well, I think for many of us who would like to know what the discussion issues and things were at
mhm.
that meeting.
There might also be some kind of more like a live tweet kind of thing that we can be doing, things like that, where we can really just like because I think ideally what's going to happen is everyone's gonna it's going to be part of like the hackathon model where people are going to break off into groups and they'll work on like maybe like three people will be really working on getting like a meetings like Facebook and like YouTube up and like things like that. So then um but it's definitely going to be like very workshop formatted. So I will figure out some way to get some of the information out, but I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet. But I'm leaning towards like a live tweet or something. Excuse me. So I just wanted to show you guys.
The thing I would say,
I'm sorry,
one
what?
other thing I would say about Facebook
Mm-hmm.
is that it does not lend itself to easy categorization and searching. I've been a member of a number of beta kind of programs, and uh, it's really difficult to find uh, topics that have been put to bed or are more than a week or two old, especially if the traffic is fairly high. Whereas if you have something like one of the discussion groups
Mm-hmm.
or alternatively a Google Plus arrangement, you can categorize things and find things very much more straightforwardly. And I think that that's important if we're going to have the administrators doing it, unless there is really rapid change.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that that's actually that kind of encapsulates my hesitation about moving towards Facebook. We actually use something at FGC called Slack, and I helped another group implement that a couple weeks ago for their stuff because they had a similar thing where like the way Facebook would like aggregate the information, it just didn't work for them. And so there's other tools out there. I'm just concerned about like the user adoption versus so I don't know. That's why I haven't moved quickly on this yet.
Yeah, I agree with Ed. But what page are you showing us? Some super search?
Yeah, I just want to show you really quick how you can search the site since both of you guys are still kind of, learning about the cloud and stuff. So I went to quakercloud.org/search, and I just wanted to show you, let's see, what's the topic? Like, I don't know. I'm just like drawing a blank. Recycling. It's garbage night in my neighborhood, so I can hear everyone taking out the recycling. Um, so I don't know. You might, if you searched recycling, you can see how a lot of different groups actually approached recycling. So you have things like Nashville Friends. What did they do? They had the recycling coordinator. Um, then Quaker Earth Care Witness and their recycling. So
Cool.
you can use the quakercloud.org/search function to just kind of get a bigger picture of where people are putting what on their websites.
Cool.
So that is my fun tip for the day. Um, so yeah.
This doesn't show private stuff, does it?
It will show you everything private on your site, and it will show you everything that is accessible to Quakers. So it's a nice way to really look at all of that too. I can see private stuff, but you won't be able to.
It doesn't show you private stuff from other groups, does it?
Nope.
Not unless you're a member.
Correct. But there's a lot of stuff, a lot of meetings. There's some things that like some meetings will be like, I would never put my minutes up, and some meetings will be like, yeah, I keep it either public or I keep it visible to all Quakers, since eventually they go to the archives. But so I mean, yeah, if you look across the sites, you'll be able to see a little bit more, just because a lot of people put stuff that is visible to Quakers that's not just visible to the public.
Could you share that link?
Yep.
Like put another discussion question there. How can I search across all the Quaker Cloud?
Yeah,
I'm trying to type the URL and I forgot what it was already.
It's okay. I put it in the chat box. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you.
In terms of user adoption.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
One of the things that I've tried to do is to get as many known contributors to our regular email list to become contributors to the Quaker Cloud. And I think that once a person has actually put a post on the site, they become much more involved with it and are much more likely to become disciples for its use.
Agreed. And I think it's also important not to baby feed people with email attachments. Instead, send them the link, because unless they have a need to go to the cloud, they won't.
I agree. I think those are both great points. That's whenever you ask me a question, oftentimes I will send you the link to the cloud page where it lives, so that they keep coming back to the cloud.
Yeah.
Well, it is 8 p.m., so I'm going to wrap this up now. So unless I hear from one of you that you don't want to have this shared with the cloud admins on the site, and it is shared publicly, it's just not easy to find. No one's probably looking. But if that is an issue, let me know. I'm not going to call you out now and be like, what? So just get in touch with me by tomorrow morning. Otherwise, it's going up. So
not a problem. And cool. Good luck with your reorg.
Thanks a lot. I'm sure you guys will hear more about all of the details about that soon. We plan, though, for the cloud to go on forever and be awesome. So we're not worried about the cloud. So that's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
All right. Happy popcorn.
Thanks.
Good night.